Hello, my name is Robert Smith, and I'd like to discuss with you Module 1 from Development of Western Freedom and our readings this week. In his video presentation, Dr. Roberts discusses the requirement of Western civilization as a course for a PhD in history. He emphasizes several points, including understanding the tension between the concepts and development of liberty and freedom in Western civilization, while freedom derives from Germanic cultures and relates to government and its relationship with individuals. Liberty derives from Greco-Roman traditions and corresponds to the rights and duties within a society. Understanding Western civilization contributions are under attack, and as we move into the future, themes of human existence and scale will play key roles in historical study, and appreciation of the contributions as well as the liabilities of Western civilization have never been more important. Our readings for this week support the message by Dr. Roberts. In Reflections on Ancient and Modern Freedom from the Modern Age in the winter of 2016, author Alexander Rosenthal-Pubal distinguishes modern understanding of freedom from the ancient or Greek understanding of freedom. Simply, the modern understanding prevents freedom in the negative sense of freedom from external constraint, such as from the government. By contrast, the Greek understanding includes this negative aspect of freedom from external constraints, but also focuses on the concept of self-mastery over one's own desires. For Socrates, this self-mastery is the very foundation of the virtuous life. For Aristotle, he recognizes the negative freedom, but subordinates this to the virtuous life as a philosophical endeavor. For the ancient Greeks, the lack of a philosophical direction of the negative freedom from external constraints, without anything more, leads to moral relativism. In Daniel Hannan's Inventing Freedom, he explores the idea that the English-speaking peoples have led the development of Western civilization through a common cultural development, including, as he notes, language, hymns, and ideals, or laws, as I would call it. He noted that these developed through common usage amongst the public and without any regulatory influence. Hannan links the development of language to the development of common law, stating at page 30, quote, "Just as the common law grew like a coral, case by case, without central supervision, so did the English language." In making his next link to hymns, Hannan writes, "Covenants were enormously important to the Protestant worldview, informing the development of law and politics throughout the Anglosphere," at page 44. Finally, in making the third link to ideals or laws, Hannan regularly demonstrates that the English common law was developed over time through use and experience in much the same way as the English language and religion was contractual or covenantal in manner. He writes, "Here in fetal form is the idea of government by contract, the notion that rulers and ruled are bound by specific agreement, and that if the ruler breaks part of the bargain, the deal is off," at page 85. Overall, Hannan demonstrates that these Western principles of individual rights and freedoms derive from consent. Moreover, in order to establish any society of civilization, these elements are necessary. Practically speaking, these concepts play out in our courses on Western civilization and the controversies which have arisen between conservatives and liberals or pluralists who criticize Western civilization based on atrocities. In What is Western Civilization from the History Teacher, author Lawrence Birkin makes the point that the sense of what constitutes Western civilization has been lost. He essentially argues that inclusion of Greek and Rome in Western civilization courses deprives other civilizations like the Islamic world and the Byzantine world of their cultural lineage to the ancients. And it also places a priority and supremacy on Western culture, which is exactly the problem identified by liberals and pluralists. In Who Put the West in Western Civilization from the Intercollegiate Review, Robert Royle again tackles this concept of what constitutes Western civilization. He adds another dimension to Birkin, that a third formative influence on European culture was Christianity and its Jewish heritage. Royle indicates it would be more appropriate to consider the area as Christendom rather than the West. Royle concludes that despite its shortcomings and atrocities, no better example exists than the Western world. Similarly, in What Exactly is the West from the American Conservative, Bradley Berzer argues that the liberal criticism of Western civilization has gone too far in the sense of seeing the West as, quote, hideous and embarrassing, and failing to account for the contributions which have brought about the variability to criticize historical figures. From The Guardian on November 6, 2016 comes an article, "There is no such thing as Western civilization," wherein author Kwame Anthony Appiah highlights that culture can be defined as either high culture of one society or general culture or a complex whole of an entire society. But he demonstrates that not one is superior to another, and he notes that Western culture is surprisingly modern, more recent than the phonograph, supporting Birkin's argument that such courses were developed as a response to the Cold War. Appiah reflects Dr. Roberts' view that we live on a small planet and our need to appreciate our culture and history has never been more important. In their larger role, however, individual rights must reflect more than the negative freedoms of the modern world, which has led to a sense of disharmony. Rather, freedoms must be seen in their negative sense as well as their philosophical ideal of self-restraint. In a larger setting, perhaps by applying these principles to our courses on Western civilization, the contributions of Western culture can be appreciated while recognizing the liabilities. Thank you very much.